April 22, 1630, Part 1, Spin the Wheels. On a crisp, cloudy day in April, Amelia was daydreaming after having spent many nights in the library studying for her midterm exams. She dreamed about the big city and how she hadn't yet explored it. The city was miles long with many hidden gems, just waiting to be discovered. Many people walk about this city every day, some on foot and some by bicycle. Amelia was very fond of cycling ever since she was a child when she taught herself how to ride a bicycle. So, Amelia decided that she wanted to cycle from one end of the city to the other, about 20 miles in length. The city officials had created a trail specifically for this type of adventure. They had even placed stops along the way to allow for riders to rent bicycles and to enter the trail at different points. As you rode, you could see the skyline on one side and sandy beaches connecting to a body of water on the other. Amelia figured that this journey would allow her to ponder about where she was mentally in that moment. She began her ride from the end closest to her university, where she saw people walking dogs and students playing sports and running around. Amelia watched in awe as groups of people rode on fancy boats across the body of water, laughing and singing. She yearned for this type of enjoyment, to have a large group of friends, with money to spend on memorable trips and events like this. She hoped that the money part would come with succeeding in her courses to apply for a career that not only she would do well in, but also enjoy. But that would come with time later on. Making friends was not a strong suit for Amelia, however. In high school, she would have 2 or 3 close friends at a time, at most. Early on in high school, she became friends with students who were in her classes. They would spend time together outside of school, but only to study or have a meal together. Her closest group of friends she carried from middle school through to her senior year of high school, whom she met through her love of music. They bonded through song and the art of becoming musicians. She became very close with this group, who made her laugh and comforted her when she needed it. However, with any friend group, things can change in the blink of an eye. People form their own friend groups based on different interests, relationships form, and arguments that cause friends to part ways. All of these events are very normal, especially in high school. However, it would take Amelia several years to fully process that. She graduated from high school, no longer speaking to a single friend from that group. She was heartbroken at the time, but would later realize that this was necessary for her own self-growth. Amelia rode through the trees and zigzagged through groups of people as she continued to dream about her time in high school. It was a time where Amelia was struggling to fit in with others while doubting herself and lacking confidence. Her low confidence and self-esteem would get in the way of her sticking up for herself or befriending those whose motives weren't malicious. At the time, she drew close to friends in her group who were also dealing with similar issues. It was something that they bonded over. One friend in particular took to comforting her more than her other friends. He was there when she needed her, no questions asked. He took her out of the dark places she was in mentally, while she attempted to do the same for him. At times, they were each other's only hope. They too would part ways after graduation, with life taking them in different directions. Amelia would always be grateful for their time together. Part 2, Where the Wind Takes You. As Amelia continued her journey through the big city, she wondered about her time at university and how it had been thus far. By this point, she had made friends with people from her calculus classes, from Megan to a few others. They would have lunched together, studied together, and grabbed coffee. She knew at some point though, being different majors, that they would eventually part ways as well. She did her best to take in every moment, not knowing how long they would have. Throughout her time at university, Amelia would take this trail journey several times, sometimes even on foot. Each trip would be with a different person, who would leave an impression in Amelia's memory, for better or for worse. We'll get to that. What would remain the same would be her mind wandering about her future. Amelia lived in the past often while worrying about her future every day, at times blurring the two. This hindered her from living in the present and just taking a step back to take it all in. Years later would Amelia realize that this bike ride would mean more than just a means to clear her head. It was a way for something bigger to tell her to go where the wind takes her. Not everything in her life needed to be planned or structured. And not everything she would do would have to be productive. Sometimes a break is what she truly needed, and to rest. Amelia's freshman year at university would end with budding friendships, with new ones to come, success in her studies thus far, beginning conversations with people she took interest in, and a moment of realization that this would be the best time of her young adult life. Now, let us continue on her journey.